Hi, James Pax. Welcome to Kung Fu Legends by James Pax. Right, this week we got something special because I'm actually planning to go to Las Vegas on the March the 16th. I'm going to be doing a autograph signing there at a place called Fuku Burger. And one of our friends is also a podcaster, Brian, who's got a program called Be Kind Rewatch. So we decided to do a interview of him interviewing me and about what I've been doing and also about going to Las Vegas for this great event. You know, I haven't been back to Vegas for 20 years. So I'm sure there are many fans there and I can't wait to meet them. So welcome to the program. Enjoy. And also, I just remembered Nasty Boys, the TV series I did for NBC back, in the early 90s, with all the great actors, including Benjamin Bratt, was shot in Vegas. Yeah, it was shot in Vegas. Yeah, I just remember it. So, I'm sure that many fans living in Las Vegas have seen that show as well. The Nasty Boys, okay? So the Nasty Boys is going to Vegas to meet all of Nasty Boy friends and the Lightning from Big Trouble in Little China fans. I see ya.
First one is, can you tell us what you've been up to for recently? What have you been up for the past few years?
Right. Basically, what I've been doing is that since I made the Big Trouble in Little China back in the 80s, then I stayed in Hollywood for another 10 years on to the early 90s. And, doing movies with Chuck Norris in Invasion USA and Charles Bronson in Kinjite, TV series for NBC with Benjamin Bratt and many other fine actors. I just decided I need to find my own roots, starring in my own movies, because as you know, back then in the 80s in Hollywood, it's pretty much a white world. The whole strata is white, Caucasian, Black, Latino, and Asian in the movie industry, which I can't really blame the industry simply because there weren't many Asian directors and Asian writers to write these stories. So it's all depending on the white producers, that gets the Caucasian writers to write out Asian characters and stories, But I did fine. But then, I was always doing the second banana, they call it, second or third bananas. I like to be the first banana, enough of this second and third shit. I said, go on to Asia. So since I came from Hong Kong and I speak the language, I went back to Hong Kong and the rest was history. I made another 40 movies and TV series in Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, and China, actually. And I learned a great deal. And I did a movie with Michelle Yeoh in The Heroic Trio, which I know it has become an international cult movie now. Yes, and that was enjoyable.
Yeah. So one of my favorites. I actually have it. I have that movie right here. That's one of my favorites. I love that one.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell the Comic-Con people in America, because it was new. Last year, I went to 4 cities, New Jersey, Boston, LA, and Texas, and met all my fans, which I want to tell my fans, my experience with my fans. First time ever, after 35 years from Big Trouble, I met my fans from the age of 15 to all the way to 70. So apparently the parents love Big Trouble, so they show it to their kids on TV, and the kids become my fans. So I even had families in Texas that the mother brought in 10 kids. His boys and girls all came in front of me and said, "My God, where have you been?" I said, "Well, I live in Asia now, because we've been waiting for 20 years just to meet you." I said, I'm sorry, but I'm here finally, and I'm still healthy and everything. And they're so happy. And they gave me this big box of play cards. You see, I live in Asia so much, I don't even know what it's about play cards. He said, oh, this is a game, Monopoly or something. I opened it. I never even unpacked it. It was so beautiful. I don't even want to unpack it. I just leave it at it. And it's so heavy. My God, it's like 8 pounds. I have to put it in my suitcase and carry it all the way back to LA, and I keep it. But I'm looking to bring it to Asia because I'm looking to open my restaurant and bar, and I'm actually going to display all the good things that my fans gave it to me and all my memorabilia, T-shirts and all of that, and including my animal pin, by the way, this great animal pin. In case you don't know, it's night glow, means you put it in the sun for like half an hour to gather energy, and you can wear it at night and it will glow like a star all night long. So
make sure you bring plenty of those to Vegas, because I know I'm going to buy a handful of them myself.
Yes,
I'm going to buy them and as gifts to my nephews back home. So yes, definitely.
And this T-shirt too. I'm bringing that to our event at the Fuku Burger, right? We have to talk about the Fuku Burger. Yeah, it's going to be what? March the 16th. March is the 16th. Yeah, at the Fuku Burger, and you can tell people more about the Fuku Burger.
Yeah, and we'll put a link below so people know about it. But yeah, Fuku Burger is a nice independently owned burger shop in Las Vegas. We're doing it at the Buffalo location, and we'll have all the information. But yeah, you're coming out. We're gonna have some a public and a private signing, or a public signing and then a private dinner event.
Yes,
so
indeed.
Again, all the information will be below, and it's so exciting. Colin, the owner of Fuku Burger, is a huge fan. We have a long history together. Even not to go too deep into it, but he started out with a food truck, and he used to park his Fuku Burger food truck in Chinatown, and then we had an LED truck, the same truck with an LED screen on it that played videos and would play movies on it. And the very first night, and I have footage of it, the very first night we played Big Trouble in Little China next to Fuku Burger truck, and we had a big party there, and everyone came out and got food. So it's amazing how well it fits together. Like it's meant
amazing.
To be. So
never watched it with fans, so I can't wait to watch it with my fans. Basically,
that would be very interesting. Yeah, like especially that would be a very fun experience to watch it with fans for sure.
I think it'll be a great fun experience. And then you can do my Q&A there with the fans asking questions, and you videotape everything, and then you share around the world. The world fan are going to love it, First time ever James Pax doing Big Trouble screening with his fans.
Exactly, yes.
And then we can do one on Heroic Trail. Yeah.
Yes.
Heroic Trail is
I own that movie. Heroic Trail will be a blast. That would be, because that's a movie that I don't think a lot of people know how good it really is. So that would be a fun one to show, because that's a good movie.
Yeah, all that wiring was amazing. The wiring work, people flying through the air was amazing.
What are your plans for the future, though? I mean, we kind of went through what you were doing. What do you have coming up?
A lot of things coming up, because I've been simmering it for 20 years. So after I left Hollywood, I went back to Hong Kong and started doing movie as an actor, and I also started producing, commercials for Japan. And in 2006, I did a very significant project that I'm very proud of today. It's called The First Emperor, okay, which means the first emperor of China. You probably remember 6 years ago, there was a movie called The Last Emperor, directed by Bernardo Bertolucci, and Zhang Long played the emperor. And he became a superstar back then. And the movie did very well, around the world, and won like 4 or 5 Academy Awards. But that was produced by Europeans. And this one, I produced it myself. And it's not in Chinese, it's in English. I produced it for Discovery USA and for Channel 4 UK. And then the rights were sold globally globally. I mean, you can imagine every TV stations in every country, they bought the rights because back then, the whole entire world was very hot on China because China is just beginning to open up their doors to have everybody to come in and invest. So China was a mystical place back then, and I'm the first one, Asian, Chinese Americans to decided to do this project for the entire world to see, not in Chinese, in English. Again, I did it in English, and it was very, very intricately told story, putting drama with documentary together. So they call it docudrama. So it's 30% documentary, 70% drama. And I play the first emperor. And because of the success of that, I decided to keep on writing. So I in the last 20 years, I've probably written 5 different scripts, from actions to love stories, song, and so forth. And my next project, which I just completed in a 3-year endeavor, it's called Vortex, Vortx, Vortex. And it's actually about a group of Chinese Kung Fu monks riding on Vortex, come to America, 2028, and settling down, in America, and then got summoned by the president to help solve a worldwide crisis. So they will be teaming up with American Army and fighting against these nemesis, these bad guys, and using Kung Fu, just fists and legs, and Chinese weapons against modern weapons, Uzis, guns, and rockets, and all of that. So how is that possible? The fans are going to say, how is that possible, James? Just fist and human body can withstand the bullets? Well, fans, you got to watch Vortex, okay? It's going to be a TV series. We don't know which platform it's going to be on, but I know it's going to be hot on the stove to be grabbed. And we are looking for, studios to give us an okay so I can start directing it and get it produced this year. And hopefully by August, maybe later, I don't know. Depends on how fast we put it together. It'll be out. I can bet you it's going to be on the top 3 of the world, action list. Definitely. Also to let about it. Yeah. Just before you ask the next question, I also wanted to say that Big Trouble in Little China, after 35 years, it really became a cult classic. It just been recently rated by Hollywood Press as the second best Kung Fu martial art movie of all time, next to Karate Kid. And my character, Lightning, is rated as the 8th baddest ass of all time Kung Fu martial art movies. So
I personally have I personally dispute those numbers. I would put Big Trouble in Little China above Karate Kid personally. And if you combine the 3 storms, they're the 3 most badass henchmen ever made. So exactly. Those are my preferences.
Yeah, because I feel I like Karate Kid. Rub right, rub left, and the actors were great. But if you talk about elements of sorcery and evils and all of that, you cannot compare that to Big Trouble and all the nemesis and running in the tunnel and all that sorcery with lightning, my God.
Yeah. The play of the hero being the goofball, really, and really the sidekick kind of character is actually the hero. Stuff like that's so much fun.
Yes, I think John Carpenter did an incredible job for that movie. He didn't write it, but he definitely directed it and bring it to a higher level. Because when I read the script, I thought, it was an okay script, but he really elevated, visually everything. And so to let all the fans know, all the sets are real. There's nothing CGI, because back then in the 85, there was no CGI. So everything was real sets. I think we were shooting in 8 different studios, means 8 different studios put up the sets and waiting for us to go in there and shoot it. And then we shot it for like 2 months, and then they do another few street shooting in San Francisco. So that's what makes that movie classic, because everything is real, except my light was put in afterwards. And it was, again, hand-drawn, not CGI. That's why I also want to emphasize my lightning is better than any lightnings nowadays on Marvels or even Mortal Kombat. What do you say to that?
I agree. And I said, on our episode, I put a little electric effect in it via CG, and I'm a pretty good visual effects artist, and it still falls far, far below the quality of Big Trouble in Little China. It's not only, but also, I mean, not to be too, a lot of it is from your movements. So not only is the electric done well, but your movements are done so well that they work together. And so your movements with the visual effects artist who put that in there, they just lock in perfectly. Because if your movements are wrong, that electricity is going to look goofy. Or, you know, so it was, the effect was done well, and your choreography just merged perfectly. So it was teamwork for that, for sure.
Yeah, you know, when I was choreographing that short 30 seconds movement, I said, I got to imagine when I do this, I got to give it a pause, because the lightning is going to shoot out. So it's going to allow half a second for the lightning to shoot out before I do another movement, you know. And if I do it too quick, they're not going to be able to shoot the lightning out to give that full effect. And I'm so glad, you know, the artist did such an incredible job to bring lightning alive and made it into a classic. I don't think there's going to be another character shooting a better lightning than lightning for another 100 years after.
And anytime they do, they're just going to be imitating you.
That's right. Just like Mortal Kombat, remember? They said, a lot of fans, oh, yeah, you know, they always say, oh, you're the inspirator to Mortal Kombat. What's his name? Raiden. I say, yes, I am. I am the granddaddy of Raiden. The fact is, you know, Daniel Pacina and his brother, I think his brother's name, I think is Victor or something. I can't remember. And we are friends, and they say, you know what, James, you are the inspirator to us doing the kung fu action for the Mortal Kombat original game version. They say you are the inspirator to what we are doing in that video, you know, a video game, and then it became a what do you call it, a movie. But you know what? I don't know why they didn't come and ask me to play a part in it. Oh.
I mean, it's so obvious that you were the inspiration, but yeah. Well,
they should have asked me to come and play Raiden or something else, you know, and made it great.
Well, yeah, that would have taken too much creative thought.
Yeah, right. Probably the producer, you know, fell asleep on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, someone fell asleep for sure, definitely. But the one thing is, I mean, not to jump back, your new show you're working on, Vortex. Is there a place where we can follow some future updates, like maybe your Instagram or like the fan club? Will you be keeping updates on the show?
Yeah, just to let the fans know, I have my own Facebook fan club, and I have an Instagram, and also the Fuku Burger event, and also I'm doing another event in Chicago at the zombie horn comic shops, and then in Peoria, that's in Illinois. So we'll put out all that dates and locations so fans can follow it. In my fan club, you have to join my fan club to know what I'm going to be up to. All right, because everything is announced on the fan club and on the Instagram. So follow me. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I can't talk too much about Vortex, you know, because otherwise studio gonna say, you already tell the story. I say, oh, I did not.
Right. But I just want to make sure that exactly. I just want to make sure that it stays in everybody, including my mind, so that when it comes up, we're like, there it is. And yes.
But I can guarantee you,
Excellent.
and I say guarantee you, you'll be the top 3 on all the streaming platform when Vortex come out. And from there,
Excellent.
it's going to be a feature movies, 2 feature movies. Script is already completed. And one is about sorcery and the evils. And the other one is espionage, like what's it called? Anyway, just based on the Light Guardians, I have like 3 different scripts going on. It's a continuation, of the whole saga from 3,000 years ago in China. Light Temple is there training the best kung fu fighters of all time. And then they travel on the Vortex, and then they are now in America in the modern day. That kind of thing.
So we're all looking forward to the updates on it. We're definitely it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to this for sure.
Terrific, Brian. You will be at the front row of the premiere in LA. Okay, we don't know which theater,
yes,
but you'll be invited.
I will definitely be. I appreciate it. I will definitely be there. I will be cheering louder probably than anyone else. But what made you really get into acting? I mean, you mentioned before that you did some dance and martial arts. How did you transfer from dance and martial arts to really define your desire for acting?
Well, I have to tell you, my whole action career actually started when I was a kid living in Hong Kong, because it was Bruce Lee that actually inspired me to study Kung Fu, because I was just a little kid. He was already doing movie in Hong Kong, and I saw him on TV for an interview, and he was just so dynamic. So then I said, I want to take up Kung Fu, and then I went on to do karate, taekwondo, 10 different weapons, you name it, I do it all, including Japanese, katana, that kind of thing. And then, when I went to study high school in New Jersey and then NYU in New York, I took up ballet and became first ever, American Asian dancer. Back then they call it jazz dancer in all the MTVs and TV programs. And out of all the faces, white and black, and sometimes Latinos, I'm the only Asian face, male dancer. I was the first ever. And then from that, I decided to be a model, because I'm not so tall. I'm 5'11", but it's good enough. Again, one of the few Asian models that start doing commercials from Milk, AT&T, Old Spice. I was an Old Spice man. Can you imagine? First ever Old Spice man. I went on to do like European cigarette campaign, West Cigarette and Philip Morris for Germany and France, and probably my face was all over on the big billboard, just like the Marlboro bar man. And so from modeling, then I got an agent, and everything was history. And I was brought in to audition for Big Trouble Over China, and me and my partner, we choreographed 10 minutes, kung fu fighting, from fist fighting to weapon fighting. And John said, wow, that was the best audition I've seen in New York, because I was in New York. So 2 weeks later, we got an offer, and I asked my agent, so do I get the leading part? Because that was the part I read for. They said, no, you didn't get that part, but you get the part of lightning. I said, what is lightning is about? Well, it's a part of a nemesis. I said, well, they never sent me the whole script, but tell me, should I take this? Because I had another offer, General Hospital. They were offering me a lot of money, to be the first ever, again, Asian actor in General Hospital. He said, you got to take this because it's John Carpenter, and you'll be in Hollywood, and you'll be a feature film actor. So I said, fine. Thanks for the advice. I took up the job, and everything else was history. And from there, I went on to do Kinjite with Charles Bronson, and Invasion USA with Chuck Norris, and In Love and War with James Wood and many other TV episodics. I did a TV series though with NBC, which was quite an incredible TV series. It's called The Nasty Boys, produced by Dick Wolf with Benjamin Bratt and a few other wonderful, Hollywood actors. But unfortunately, that TV series was short-lived, only 13 episodes. And it got canned because of production problems and all of that. But I really think that series should be brought back today to be revamped because the concept was amazing. So that's pretty much my Hollywood career. Yeah.
I was going to say, Richard from my show loves Nasty Boys. I think he's going to just bombard you with questions about that show. So be prepared for that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, also looking back on that, like we mentioned the Heroic Trio, which is one of my favorites. Do you have any really fun or funny memories of working on that movie?
Well, that was like the second or third movie when I went back to Hong Kong, to play this part. The director was quite famous, but that wasn't the reason I was in it, because Michelle Yeoh is the one that brought me into the movie. She just met me, and she's never been to Hollywood, and she was already a superstar, of course. And she said, "Oh, James, you're so great. I've seen your American movies, and why don't you come and help me out with this part? You can play my love interest." I said, "Oh, really? Sure." So I was brought in to do this part, playing her love interest as a scientist. I knew it was going to be a big movie because Michelle Yeoh and Maggie Cheung and Anita Mui, they were like three hottest stars in Hong Kong and in Asia back then. Fun memory was my part wasn't action, more romance. But the fun memory was seeing all these three female stars flying through the air. Amazing, it was a pretty big production for Hong Kong. Hong Kong, it was like $5 million. That's a lot of money back then. But it did 20 million in Asia. And then, of course, now it's a cult movie. But Michelle was great. And Michelle even asked me, how is it like working in Hollywood? I said, well, nothing is easy. Asians are in the bottom of the strata, but you should give it a try. And so then he said, show me the contract. I said, sure, here's the contract. Then I guess that inspired her to venture into Hollywood. And look what she has achieved since. But it was a different way of movie making. And I truly enjoyed it because I really got to play the leading part. Having romances with my leading ladies, or again, being a baddies or robbing jewelry shops. I play all kinds of parts. Also, I want to let the audience know, back then, yes, I have an Asian face, but I'm having English actually and have Chinese. And I never thought of myself, any different than anybody else. And when I was taking up acting, I watched all these old movies, Montgomery Clift, and all these wonderful actors, James Dean and Marlon Brando. And James Dean, Marlon Brando, Montgomery Clift, these are all my idols. And so when I decided to venture into acting, I said, James, you're going to be nothing but Marlon Brando. So since then, everything I do, my goal is to be as good as Marlon Brando. And that's what made me today. So I don't believe in pretty face acting and all that. I believe in character building and really get into the character, which if the fans knows other works I do, every character I play is a little different. And definitely trying to bring that character alive. That's the fun part of being an actor, actually, to share.
And with that, like you're like going back to Big Trouble in Little China, your character of Lightning, how, as an actor, how do you bring a character like that to life when, as an actor, using your dialogue is a major part, having very little lines in that movie and only using your martial art ability, your physical presence, your facial expressions? How is that overwhelming to think about, or how do you handle that?
That's a very good question. Yeah, when I got the part, I knew there wasn't any line. I said, I got to use my action to express my artistic point of view. So everything I do, has to come out of my action. That's why I designed it in such a way that it's going to be powerful. There wasn't a lot of scenes, I was in, but like I say, it's always walking, chasing after Chuck Norris. What's his name? The leading actor. All of a sudden, I can't remember
Kurt
his
Russell.
name. Kurt Russell, yeah. I think the most classic scene was me drop down to the alley, having the big brawl. And the second scene was me chasing after Kurt Russell through the tunnel. But I can tell you, every movement, I designed it for the purpose to show how this sorcerer can be so powerful and accurate. In the tunnel, John said, okay, this whole big thing is going to fall down on you. So make sure after you do the action, you're going to walk forward. Otherwise, you're going to be crushed and it's going to be on fire. I said, okay. So he said, show me what you're going to do. So then we know what we're going to do, to make it work. So I said, in order to bring down that big chandelier, supposedly, I'm going to shoot left to the left corner, shoot right to the right corner, and then to the other back corners. So that's where my hand goes. And that gives the artist the time to draw in and then to make it real that because of what I did, then the whole chandelier just dropped behind me. And it was scary, I can tell you that, because there's one take only. And I did walk, forward a few feet, but I hear this noise behind me. Then I start walking forward, remember? But then when I shoot all of that, and then I shoot it forward, the lightning just goes zap, zap, zigzag. So classic. Zigzag through the walls, bouncing through the walls. What a sorcerer, lightning. Yeah. By the way, lightning will appear in my Vortex as well, in a different character, but definitely sorcery is part of it in the Vortex. Yes, in a different tangent.
Visually, that scene in the hallway of you bringing down that rooftop or ceiling thing, it's visually, I even said it in the episode that we made, that it's one of my favorite scenes in most movies. It's probably just that visually is so powerful and cool looking. Still one of my favorites.
Yeah. Always will be a classic.
Yes. Are you in I saw some photos with you and Carter Wong at a convention recently. Are you in contact with some of the people that you work with, either on that or some of the other movies?
Yes. Last year I did some private signing with James Hong, who played my boss, and he's already like 92 or 93. He came in a wheelchair with gloves, with mask, because it was during the COVID. He didn't even shake my hand. He said, okay, I'm sorry, because of COVID and all of that. So we sat down, not even in his apartment. We sat down in the balcony kind of a thing, in the open. And then, he signed like 40 different posters for us because we did a private signing of the 4s and the 3s. And I saw him then. Then he went on to do the Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I also got Peter Kwong to do some autograph signing for the 3s, means Thunder, Rain, and Lightning, signing all in one. And I tell my fans, you got to buy it now because this is not going to happen. And each version, only 40 copies sold, and it will never happen again. So a lot of fans bought it. And definitely, it was great seeing these wonderful actors. And Carter, we did autograph signing with him too, privately in Hong Kong. He lives in Hong Kong now. And I was going to invite him to my Comic-Cons, but he can't go because his wife can't get a visa to go to America. He won't do anything without his wife, which we understand. People can visit my memorabilia website. You can check it out. Join my fan club. You can join my Instagram so that you follow up what I'm going to be doing. Wonderful events coming right up, and Vortex. If you want to know more about Vortex.
Looking forward to Vortex. Uh, One of the last questions I really have is I have a lot of friends who live here in California who are martial arts and acting and kind of want to do both martial art acting, stunt work. Do you have any advice for them to get into television, film, or even live performance? Good advice or things to avoid?
It's never easy as a martial artist getting into the business, whether you're black, white, or purple. It always takes a lot of hard work, make sure you know your stuff, and then getting connected. So you have to be in Hollywood, getting connected with these so-called show choreographer and get in with them, and hopefully you can show your wonderful techniques. Nowadays, there are a lot of, they call it the trickers, means they do a lot of tumbling, that kind of thing. But that is not martial arts, excuse me, but it looks good. And it's being used a little too much, I think. But I also want to mention about John Wick, which I really, truly enjoyed it. And I'm glad that a movie theme like that came on to the market, and congratulate the Keanu Reeves. John Wick was great, but then 2, 3, 4, it just got bigger and bigger budget and bigger stars and better locations, but the story really just took a nosedive. And I really think the producer need to do something about that. Not being critical, but because I'm very critical on what I do too. And also about its action. I think it's great to see jiu-jitsu in it, but then after 4 of them, it still is jiu-jitsu. You dive into the floor and roll around like a worm, and then you choke them or whatsoever, and then you pull out a gun and kill them. I think it's a little too much, I think I'd rather really see, like, my favorite fight scene is between Bruce Lee and Chuck fighting in the Coliseum. I can tell you, another 100 years later, there's not going to be another kung fu fight scene better than that one. Can you imagine these days, directors will have 3 cameras or 20 cameras that John Woo would do to shoot the scene like that. But back then, they probably shoot it with 18 millimeters, 16 millimeters, and only one camera, and they take one shot at a time. And probably they don't have too many cuts, just 1 take or 2 takes only for each shot. But those movements was so real, and it's so well choreographed, and it's clear, If you see a lot of Marvel movie today, one swing this, one swing that, the person is already off somewhere else. Or in the movie, the Chinese movie, the lighting was awful. You can't even see what the movement is, or the movement is so fast you can't even see what the hell is going on. But at the Coliseum scene, you see every move, every block, every kicks. Between the two, that's why it's such a classic, and that's what I want to bring back is the classic. And secondly, I really think heroes need to fight standing up, please. Standing up, like boxers. You can get on the floor, and fight, but Bruce Lee never get on the floor. He just step on your head and just go, and you already know. He doesn't even need to have a close-up. You already know he killed the guy and cut off his neck. I think sometimes artistic endeavor can be used that way. So it doesn't show so much violence, and yet it is effective. And that director was very smart, and Bruce Lee was very smart in demonstrating that. He probably only once he get on the floor and grab somebody's neck and choke them or something, And I think director, if you ever want to invite James to help you to choreograph something new, I'm ready to help you. John Wick 5.
I'm gonna take you up on that offer. I hope you're ready for coming out to Vegas for this. I hope you're ready for hopefully one of the best hamburgers you've ever had in your life from Fuku Burger, because they are the best. So you're going to be spoiled. It's when you go back home, you're going to be spoiled because you're just going to never be able to have one that good again.
Definitely. I have to say, I'm a burger lover. You know, living in China, I can hardly find a good burger. I don't even go to Burger King here. I go to hotels sometimes, but they serve you burgers this tiny. It's like a little bun, you know, a little piece of meat. But American burger is like huge sauce and chips and everything. I just love it. And I can't wait to go. Fuku Burger. So all the fans, make sure you come over and meet me there.